Digital Marketing Radio, episode 115, Building Brand Visibility Through Relationships.
DigitalMarketingRadio.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by deepcrawl.com. When you need a comprehensive website crawler that identifies and monitors how your site is performing through the eyes of a search engine, I recommend DeepCrawl. DeepCrawl gives a complete and accurate picture of the health of your website architecture and identifies where the gaps are. Get your free website crawl of up to €10,000 at deepcrawl.com/report. That's deepcrawl.com/report.
The big interview with David Bain.
Today, I'm pleased to be joined by someone who was responsible for the explosion of SEMrush's brand presence in Europe. She now focuses on helping to drive the brand awareness of many different digital marketing tools out there. Welcome to DMR, Alexandra Tachalova.
Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for having me today, David. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you for joining me. It's wonderful to have you here. Well, let's get straight into the questions here. So do you really think that building relationships with experts can result in measurable marketing success?
Definitely. I think it's it's really something which is integrated inside any kind of campaign. Honestly, let's say, just talking about me, like my behavior normally at different social media channels, what I normally proceed. I follow different experts like any, let's say, average user on Twitter, LinkedIn. And so that's kind of interaction which is really measurable, because if you follow each other, you retweet each other, you favorite each other, that's what can be measurable for sure. From other hand, you should set up a really, let's say, reachable and smart goals in any campaign, in any digital marketing campaign. And the same you can do as well with when you are interacting and when you're focusing in building relationship with any kind of experts, let's say. And so, for example, what I try to follow in my campaigns when I'm focused on building those kind of relationship, I try to understand what kind of outcome we can deliver together. Whether it's going to be a piece of content, for example, or it's going to be some kind of social media boost for the brand, for the brand here, for which I'm working. So it really depends. However, it's definitely measurable. On top of that, you can just use some kind of really simple CRM systems. Like, for example, normally I use Nimble, which is I highly recommend as well to use for all other experts, because you can put there all the experts which you found out on a different sources. It can be like bloggers, it can be speakers, it can be educational courses, it can be so it can be any kind of activity. It can be authors, so any kind of experts which influence on your market. And you put all of those experts in this CRM or in any kind of CRM, it doesn't matter, where you can put as well all kinds of interactions which you are going to plan with this particular expert. And then you can put there the result of your interaction, whether it was delivered or not. And after that, you can also add there the deliverable. So how much shares, how much views your content, for example, has gained after a campaign, or how much visits did you receive from this particular banner on a partner, let's say, website, if it was, for example, educational courses. Because those kind of, let's say, experts, they're likely to reference to your website with some kind of a banner, because those kind of, let's say, banner, they add benefits to their educational campaigns and to their educational trainings, because your brand adds additional value to their courses. So it really depends, but it's definitely measurable.
Okay, it's easy enough, obviously, to find lots of influencers in your niche. You can do that, in Twitter or on other social networks out there. But forging relationships with these experts is perhaps a lot more difficult, especially perhaps if you aren't perceived as an expert within your industry. So how does someone start out forming these relationships with experts and get these experts to actually talk back to you and start having a conversation with these people? Can you give someone who perhaps runs a business and doesn't have many relationships at the moment some tips with regards to how to start a conversation?
Yeah, sure. I think around 5 years ago, I was also zero in digital marketing, and when I came to SEMrush, no one had idea about me, about Alexandra, so I was in the same position, let's say. And so what you can use in that case, first of all, you can try to, let's say, to use your brand and to use, for example, so to involve your brand in communication with those experts. So, for example, you can, like, if we are going to talk about Twitter, you can favorite tweets from those experts, and so in that way you are going to create some kind of, let's say, a communication between you through your brand and this expert. If you don't have any kind of visibility of your brand on, let's say, on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, you can still go on LinkedIn and just connect personally with those experts. If person is going to accept your connection, that's a starting point of your conversation. So you can thank this person and see whether you can find any kind of, let's say, crossing interests. Sometimes it's really good to, for example, to make a really personalized message. What I normally proceed, because, for example, if you have a blogger, you can go to this blogger blog and see what kind of articles he or she normally does. And then you can write a really personalized message, like, for example, I liked your article because of. And that is going to create any kind of, let's say, relationship, because person will see that you care about its content and you care about its blog. And so what I feel, it's creating some kind of trustworthy relationship when you spend your time on investing and on investing different information about different bloggers. And so that's kind of research. And so I feel, so that's so what I know from my personal experience, it's not going to create a huge, let's say, rate of responses back to you. However, you can slowly generate those kind of relationship, and then each new interaction will be easier to proceed compared to the very beginning, let's say. So
Okay.
it's still doable, what I feel from my personal experience. And for example, right now, I work with really small brands, like, for example, SEO Monitor, and they're really small startup. And they have less followers in Twitter than me. And personally, I am not really investing in doing any kind of interactions on Twitter. I don't even tweet regularly there. But they have a smaller number on Twitter and they are not really visible. However, they've started to build those relationships with my help, with the help of their friends. And right now, they're doing pretty good, just because they've started to talk with the right people. So it's really about connections and relationships. And it's not about like whether your brand really big or really small. So I know, like, for example, really huge brands, and they are not investing in building those relationships.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I love what you're saying there. It's about quality relationships. It's not about just trying to market not personally to thousands of different people. It's actually having meaningful, personalized conversations with everyone that you're reaching out to, and you know about the people that you're reaching out to as well. You're not just blanket messaging everyone that happens to be using a certain hashtag on Twitter or have a certain word within their username. And social media marketing, if you could even call it that, used to be about that. It used to be about just mass getting in contact with as many people as possible, or following 20,000 people and yeah, also unfollowing them if they don't follow you back. And it doesn't feel right, that kind of marketing. And it may have worked a bit a few years ago, but the quality relationship focus that you have is obviously going to have the long-term dividend that any business would want. So it's fantastic, you know, and I agree with your mindset there completely. What I want to talk about now is actually what you do after you forge the relationships. So say you've got 20 or 50 decent relationships with people who are authorities within their industry, within your industry. What are some of the better things that you can try and maybe get them to do for you, or you can do for them, that will actually assist with increasing your brand visibility?
Sure. Actually, I had a really good case. It was I did it a couple of weeks ago. Accidentally, I was connected to one guy. He does on regular basis blog posts on, as I remember, Search Engine Watch. Yeah, on Search Engine Watch, I believe. And so I was trying to get a feedback about one tool from him, just giving it for free of charge access in order to get a feedback from him. And he was pretty open, and it was pretty easy to get in connection with him. And I thought that maybe I can try to build something more besides those feedback. And I suggested him to deliver together an infographic. So actually the idea was pretty simple, that I'm going to take care about everything, about design, about idea, and he's going just to promote it. And he told me, yes, why not? And that's actually, you should try different ideas, and which for sure should be fitting their interests, and let's say which should go really good with their interests and targets. But it's really easy sometimes to deliver something together if you're ready to work. I mean, for sure, if you go to some really cool experts, they're not going to work with you. So they're not ready to invest the same amount of time and resources as you can do. But if you are going to deliver, let's say, final product, which they can simply promote, it's also a way to boost the presence of your brand. It's also a good way to boost a visibility of your brand. So it really depends with whom you are talking about what. But what I feel, it's really, it's sometimes easy, sometimes not. I'm not going to tell you that it's really simple to do it. It's going to be, I'm going to create a wrong, let's say, understanding of the whole process. But in some cases, you just need to provide a good idea. So you need to be really smart and creative in order to bring an idea. But if the idea is going to be let's say, interesting for an expert with whom you have a conversation, it's going to be implemented, and it's going to be really, let's say, it's going to influence really positively on your brand in the end. And also it's going to create a more, let's say, a better connection between you, your brand, and this expert, because you are going to have a positive experience of doing something together.
What I really picked out there about what you said there was you were talking about the fact that you reached out and you built the relationship, and then after you had the relationship, you told your expert about the infographic that you'd happened to produce, and you were wondering if they were interested. Most businesses have that the wrong way around. They do things completely differently. They produce the infographic, then they reach out to people that they don't know, and they wonder why no one will promote it for them. Have you tried to do it that wrong way around before?
Actually, it was some kind of experiment, let's say. I really delivered an infographic. It was for my own blog, and I thought that, like, let's try another way of getting things done, and let's try another one approach. And I wasn't really begging someone to share my infographics or something like that. However, I pushed it on I pushed it on multiple, let's say, websites like Reddit and some kind of stock infographic stocks websites. And so also I tried to make it in a more, let's say, intelligent way. I started to follow people who have recently shared any kind of infographic in my niche, and I received a couple of let's say, retweets and a couple of mentions, but I wasn't really approaching them. I was doing, let's say, some kind of movements towards them, because I was like favoriting them and following them, but not really asking to share my infographic.
Right. Okay. I'm just listening to you there. I'm just thinking that there's a lot of good things in relation to relationship building that I'm doing as well. Interviewing people for Digital Marketing Radio. I'm doing a similar kind of thing for the show this week in Organic. But there's one thing that I certainly think that you're doing a lot better than I am, and that's actually being methodical about ensuring that you maintain that relationship and keep records of things. I haven't been good at doing that in the past, and I need to be more consistent about, keeping that relationship going, because it's not about that just one relationship. It's about forging that relationship and maintaining it over time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you have when you have everything in your Google or in a spreadsheet, it doesn't matter, when you have all your contacts and you can just at least browse them. Because right now Google has a really good, what I feel, they've recently rebuilt their structure of their contact, let's say, database. And it becomes more used. What I feel, it becomes easily to use, for me at least. However, what I feel about that, that you still need some kind of system where you can see, like, for example, people with whom you were interacting more and with whom you were interacting less. And that is going to give you a signal that, okay, I'm sorry, my cat is coming. It's also digital marketing geek.
That's great. Well, what we'll do is we'll probably cut this part out of the audio podcast, but we'll keep it in the video as an extra bonus for video viewers.
Yeah, but he was enough shy to go away.
Oh, right. Okay. Did he see me? Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
Okay, so I mean, it just, yeah, and you should have some kind of, let's say, a system where you can easily track all those changes. And also what I try to extract from any kind of a system where I can easily manage all my records and all my interactions with those experts, that I can, for example, try to build a cross relationship with them. So for example, I can introduce one guy to another one guy, and that is going to create additional value for me, because those two guys, they can happily deliver something together, and I'm going to be some kind of a connection for them, and they're going to feel some kind of appreciation for my activities. And that's what I try to do as well. So I try to connect the right people together, and that is going to pay dividends definitely for your brand or for your personal brand, whatever you do.
Absolutely. You just make me feel bad about the things that I'm not doing, because I know there's so much more that I should be doing. There's a chap that springs to mind called Paul Ryanazov, and he's actually from the Ukraine, and he speaks at quite a few different events, mostly across the USA. And he's been on this podcast about 20 episodes ago, but he has done such an incredible thing for me, in that he's introduced, or he sent emails to me and copying other people in, saying, you've got to meet this person, introduce this other person. And it's wonderful, but every time he does it, I'm thinking, you're doing so much more, and I really need to do the same for other people as well. So I've got to start doing that as well.
You've already done it. You referenced to this guy, so you already shared your appreciation about his activities, and that's the part which you can hardly manage, but it works so good as well. It's just what I feel is just turning out in a direct traffic and in some brand mentions, because sometimes I found out some brand mentions which from the guys with whom I've never been in any kind of relationship, and that's what I feel. That was some kind of let's say a relation which was built because of, and that's what you did right now. You just reference to one nice guy who was really good in building a relationship.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully something nice happens out of it. That would be good. But let's segue into the second section of our discussion. So that focuses more on your thoughts on where digital marketing's been and where it's heading. So starting off with
software I couldn't live without.
So what software do you currently use in your business that if someone took away from you, it would significantly impact your marketing success?
Well, I feel it's BuzzSumo, because I start my day with it. Because to create a really good tweets for my partners' channels and for any other channels, I need to know about the hot and trending content. Right now, I'm trying to use Ahrefs as well, because they also have this kind of feature inside there too. Because honestly, mostly I use Ahrefs. That's another one too, which I really enjoy to use, honestly. And they're really good in backlinks analysis. And that's what I use there too for primarily. However, they have a really nice content explorer as well. And so quite recently, I started to use it. And well, who knows? Maybe I'm going to jump into Ahrefs fully, but right now I'm still really attached to BuzzSumo, because some of their filters, let's say, and the interface, I feel more convenient inside it rather than Ahrefs. But maybe it's just the matters of time. So, well, talking about, let's say, any tools for competitive intelligence, it's not going to go further without, I can't just go further without mentioning SEMrush, for sure. Well, that's the company with which I've spent more than 5 years, and I feel really, really great about that. It was a really good time, and so they have a really good product, And if you are interested in competitive intelligence, you should definitely give a try to SEMrush. And just using, for example, Ahrefs for backlinks analysis, I combine it with Caribou. It's formerly it was Linkris, but they rebranded, and right now they have a new name, brand name Caribou, but still they have the same cool features as they had previously. And so I really enjoy using their tool because it's really cool when you have at a glance understanding of any backlinks profile, and it's just giving some kind of summarize whether it's good or bad. And so it's great. And so talking about we had a competitive intelligence tool, we have a content marketing, backlinks analysis, and we only need a tool for ranking, for tracking your daily rankings. And so what I feel about that kind of a niche, SEO Monitor does a really great job, because their product, it's really focused on digital agency from one side, from another it's focused on end users and on small businesses. And their tool where you can just not only track your daily position changes by any set of keywords and any location, but also you can set their milestones, and it's amazing what I feel about that, because if I can set any kind of milestone, that's so huge motivation to implement it, to reach it. So I feel that some of the tools, they should have those milestones, because they're going to push you to do it. And also you can share those milestones, I don't know, with your customers or even with your business owners. And that is going to be your real goals, which you should follow. And it's so simple to do. So
that's so many amazing tools that you've mentioned there already, and that was see if I get them right here. So BuzzSumo, Ahrefs, Caribou, SEMrush, SEO Monitor. Have I missed out anything there?
No, you're totally right. That's it.
What I'll do is I'll include links to all of them in the show notes. And if you're listening to this as an audio podcast, you should actually check out the video and see how passionate Alexandra is about tracking digital marketing. It's great. And you can also check out your wonderful kitchen tiles behind you, can't you?
Oh yeah, it's it. It was my, let's say, trying design.
looks.
If you need the same tile, just ask me, and I'm going to do the same design for your kitchen.
Wow, there's an offer. Very flashy indeed. Okay, one more slightly challenging question, and that is, which piece of software don't you use, but you've heard good things about, and you've meant to try at some point in the near future?
Oh yeah, I have one. Actually, I was quite surprised. And I hope it's not a secret, but quite recently, the guys from Branded 3, with whom I have a really good relationship, by the way, they reached me out and asked me to try their tool. It's called Horizon, and what I feel it's right now, it's only for beta testers, but it's for competitive intelligence, and I'm really, really excited about that. So let's see.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, you've mentioned it now. I actually did a little search on Google, and
it's nothing.
No.
You found out?
You can actually go onto the subdomain horizon.branded3.com. However, in the description underneath in Google, it says a description is not available because the site's robots.txt. So
we will see. I don't know, but maybe it's kind of a secret still.
Maybe it won't be a secret by the time this podcast comes out. We'll see.
We'll see here.
Well, let's move on to.
I wish I would have.
So I'd like you to look back on the very first day that you were involved in trying to market a business online. What didn't you do so well? What do you wish that you would have done differently?
It's a hard question because I feel that a lot of things, just definitely everything, because I feel that those days I was so stupid. Well, I feel that right now I'm not like just the most intelligent person, but still I've gained some experience and I feel better about my knowledge and understanding about digital marketing processes because, for example, 7 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. I remember when I came to SEMrush, I was actually I was snowed under all those data, all those different terms like like I don't know, advertising, organic results, whatever. Right now I'm familiar with everything and I feel really well about that, and I can talk about different strategies, link building techniques, manipulative penalization, whatever. But at that time I wasn't so experienced, and I think there was at some point I started to do email marketing for SEMrush because when I came to SEMrush, I was the only one person in a marketing department, and so some time passed, and we were hiring new persons, new team members, and so I don't know. It was some kind of changes, internal changes. And I realized that right now, at that point, I started to be responsible for email marketing. And I feel right now that I think if I started to run more A/B tested campaigns, I would be doing much better than I really did. So let's say, and I think also it was a crucial part about personalization, which was absolutely which wasn't implemented and which wasn't integrated in any email marketing campaigns. And honestly, it's still let's say a problem. When I left SEMrush, we were still struggling with that. Because when you have a service like SEMrush or any service in the internet where you ask only about email in order to register there, you're going to face this problem with personalization because you have only email, and sometimes you're lucky enough to know, I don't know, a name of a person. If it's not, for sure, if it's paid user, you're not going to face all those problems. But the majority of your users are free in those kind of tools. And the problem with personalization is the biggest problem. And I'm still, let's say, trying to put a picture together in order to figure out the right solution to personalize everyone. For sure, you can use any kind of third-party tools which can personalize via email. They can personalize via email any kind of let's say a lead inside your system, and they can add to this lead its social media profiles. But the problem is I was testing those tools and they added a wrong social media profiles. So they are not really good in personalization. And I can't find any other solution besides, I don't know, hiring a couple of people who is going to search any information manually about those let's say, leads, because using any kind of services isn't really reliable. So any kind of service, they are not providing a reliable data on which you can use in your marketing campaigns. And that's the problem of personalization and of trying to personalize it in some kind of automatical way, let's say.
It is a challenge. So I mean, obviously, what you're saying there is that personalization and split testing of email marketing is something that you wish that you would have focused on a little bit more closely a few years ago. But I mean, that is a challenge that a lot of companies are facing with. I think a lot of businesses go down the route of focusing on quantity and just getting as many people as possible to visit their website as possible. But if they just focused on conversion rates and getting to know their customers more and getting a higher percentage of people opting in and a higher percentage of those people ending up buying something, then it might end up that only 25% of the level of traffic that they get is required to make the same quantity of sales. And that relates to what you're saying earlier on, really, about building relationships. It's not just about relationships with industry authorities, it's building relationships with your customers, and you're all about that as well.
Yeah, it is. It's just what I feel. It's kind of creating messages which can really change their mindsets, or really change the way they interact with your tool, and maybe it's going to push them to finally purchase your tool. But when you send a blast of for 20,000 emails in one segment, you can't really make it, and you can't really just make it personalized, or you can't even touch them. What I feel, they can open it, they can click, but it's not going to be something which is really going to affect their patterns of behavior.
Okay, so this next round is going to be really challenging for you because you like to give expansive answers that are great, but this one is the this or that round. So it's just very, very quick. You know, this is the answer, this is the answer.
Okay.
So 10 quick questions, and just 2 rules here. Try not to think about the answer too much, and you're only allowed to say the word both on one occasion. So let's get going. Email or Twitter?
Twitter.
Audio or video?
Video.
Affiliates or display advertising?
Display advertising.
Facebook or Google+?
Both.
Online press releases or one-on-one relations?
Both.
Ooh! Paid search or SEO?
SEO.
Email contact form or telephone number?
Email contact.
Website or app?
App.
Social subscriber or email subscriber?
Email subscriber.
And local marketing or global marketing?
Local marketing.
Ooh, and you got a for having 2 boths in there, but I think the interesting one to me was actually Facebook or Google+, and you said both with that one there. So do you still use Google+ quite a bit?
Well, me personally, let's say nope, but I know that it's really influential from business perspective, and I use it a lot for my partners, and I feel that it's kind of really influential from because of 2 reasons. The first one, it's really let's say influence on your backlinks profile. And from other side, it's really good in terms of reaching out the right people which are interested in particular topics like digital marketing, for example. Because normally on G+, you're going to find the people who are interested in doing business.
Okay, so it's useful for finding those industry authorities, and there are people like that still out there using Google+ on a regular basis by the sound of it.
What I feel, there is still a good portion of people who you use on regular basis G+, and I feel that it's pretty good, because honestly, I heard from my partner that they started to use Google Plus as one of integrated solutions for boosting their sales. So if you can somehow adjust it to your business in the right way, it's going to work pretty good.
Okay, it works for some people and it's not dead yet. Or might not ever die. I don't know. I'm not saying it's definitely going to die. Okay, let's move on to
The $10,000 question.
if I was to give you $10,000 and you had to spend it over the next few days on a single thing to grow your business, what would you spend it on and how would you measure its success?
Okay, you can definitely spend in, I don't know, display advertising or just PPC. But
Or
what I
new
feel,
kitchen? No, sorry.
oh yeah, sure, on your kitchen, on developing your kitchen, but it's not a part of your business.
Yes.
And as far as we talk about relationship, I think it's better to make some kind of personalized, this time personalized presence to, I don't know, to the experts with whom you communicate. And it's going to be, I think you're not going to spend $10,000 on that. You can just make, well, I have actually a friend, and he has his own business, and it's just an educational courses. And so I was quite surprised when I received a really nice postcard which was signed, and so it was actually, it was not only signed by him, but it was also, he wrote some kind of let's say he wrote there a couple of sentences, and it was really nice, and it was really touchy to receive it. And I think if you can just invest in doing some kind of a stuff, which is like you can sit, take a postcard and write something on them, which is going to be personalized for sure. That's going to work like a magic. I think it's going to be a really cutting edge social media campaign when everyone started to put those postcards on social media. So I think it's a good way to make a really nice exposure.
So start thinking out of the box and stop following what everyone else is doing in your industry.
Yeah, maybe, because sometimes you can learn a really good stuff from other, let's say, industries, and so how they do their business. And right now I feel quite, let's say, refreshing, because I rent a place in an office where we have really different experts in different areas, and we share our expertise. And sometimes it's really interesting to hear how they organize their processes and their marketing stuff.
Great thought there, just about take us on to towards the end. But just one more thing to go, which is
my number one takeaway.
So you've offered a lot of great advice in our conversation, but what would you say is the number one takeaway? What's the single most important step that our listeners need to take away and implement within their own businesses?
I think it's pretty simple. Don't waste your time on trying to somehow trick Google or on the manipulative techniques with link building, anything which is focused on building a relationship not with the real people but with a machine. If you really care about your time and about your business, focus on real people, on real emotions, and this is a better approach. So I mean, like, if you will invest in a couple of people at least per week or per month, it's going to pay you a really good dividends in the end, because those people, they can share real comments, and they can share a real tweets and a real Facebook's posts. And on top of that, if they're enough influential, they can write about you blog posts and they can mention you in their speeches. And that's what really affects on your brand authority and visibility.
Absolutely. A lot of amazing thoughts just to think about and implement within a business there. You've offered a lot of great advice. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on. I know your blog, we haven't mentioned your blog yet. It's ALEXANDRA.com. So I'll link to that from the show notes as well. Is there anywhere else that listeners could get in touch with you from?
LinkedIn is the best place to connect with me because I'm pretty, let's say, I'm not doing really good on Twitter or, well, on Facebook as well, I'm pretty energetic, but on Twitter, I don't do regular tweets. But LinkedIn and Facebook, they're the best for me.
Okay, so just search for your name and I'm sure we'll find you on LinkedIn. No problem at all. Great stuff. Okay, well, that just about takes us to the end, I reckon now. So if you like what you heard, I'd really appreciate your feedback, dear listener. Just go to digitalmarketingradio.com/iTunes and please leave an honest rating and review. It would be absolutely fab to hear from you, and of course, it would help to improve the ranking of the show in iTunes. And finally, I'm also hosting a brand new live show every Friday called This Week in Organic. So head over to thisweekinorganic.com to find out more. But that's all for now. So until we meet again, adios. Thanks again, Alexandra. It was great to have you on.
Thank you.